Hello, hello. How's everyone? We will begin in just a minute. I am making a few adjustments. All right, how's everyone? I picked something that was a little bit more lazy to do tonight because I was wanting to play a game or maybe do a gun cleaning video, but I think we'll save that for either this weekend or next week. There have been a few more recent Miata review videos that have come out on YouTube in the past couple of weeks, and it's been a while since I've done a React video, so just for a comfy Thursday night, we'll do some reacts here. I've got about 4 or 5 videos pulled up, so I don't imagine this stream lasting longer than maybe an hour or an hour and a half. But anyway, I've got content here from, let's see, from Motor Week, from Zygreen, I know, from the Topher, because he just got a new Miata. That's a little bit of a preview, and he released that video today. And then a couple of others. So let's go ahead and get started. If you've noticed something different about the stream, by the way, I am experimenting with including the chat in the overlay, I guess, here in OBS. So you can see that in the top left corner. So if you want to test it out, go ahead and chat live, however, on whichever platform you're on, whether it's on Twitch or YouTube. And it should be displaying there. So we'll see. As a matter of fact, I can kind of test it right now, I guess. Yeah, yeah, okay, it did. Yep. So it does go by ascending order. I wonder if I can change that though. But so before we begin these React videos, let me test that real quick. Message alignment, let's try bottom. I wonder why it's not doing that. I think it's probably because I made the overlay already, so we'll just have to go with that for now. All right, here we go. This is the first video. It's Motor Week came out with this segment on one of their episodes in their 45th season. This is the first time that they've actually reviewed an RF in a really long time. I think they reviewed an RF back in 2017 when that variant of the ND Miata first came out. So this is their second review, and we're already in the ND3 subgeneration. So without further ado, let's go ahead and hit play.
Auto Value and Bumper to Bumper. And TireRack.com.
Ever since 1989, the Mazda Miata has been delivering major driving thrills for few dollar bills. But the biggest change that happened to the MX-5 over its 4 generations was the arrival of 2017's retractable fastback. And since we haven't driven the RF in quite a while, we thought that Roebling Road Raceway would be a great place to get reacquainted on the go. One look at the Mazda Miata and you know what it's all about. Its less is more approach has brought top-down driving enjoyment to more than 1 million fans worldwide over nearly 40 years now, with many owners even adding hardtops and hitting the racetrack. Mazda briefly offered their own power retracting hardtop.
Oh, so this is, if I had to get any NC Miata, this is the one I would get in this stormy blue mica and with a power retractable hardtop. I think the only thing I'd change appearance-wise about this is I'd get a tan interior because I'm a big sucker for those. I don't like plain black cloth or leather interiors on a Miata.
But eventually settled on this Targa-style roof design, which stores strictly the overhead portion of the roof in the same storage well as the soft top. It not only provides better protection for track work and from bad weather, but even brings a little more refinement with added sound deadening materials. Motivation activation comes from the tried and true SkyActiv G naturally aspirated 2-liter i4, cranking out the same 181 horsepower and 151 pound-feet of torque it has since 2019, which is plenty for moving the Miata's 2,500 pounds around a racetrack. Roebling Road Raceway is a very high-speed course, so the thought of taking a small 181 horsepower machine out onto it at first is not exactly thrilling, no matter how light it is. But before we could even finish the first lap, we were grinning ear to ear. You feel very connected to this car. Grip from the 205 Bridgestone Potenza tires was plentiful, and it was highly refreshing to embrace carrying as much momentum as possible through corners instead of just hammering on and off the throttle all the time and dealing with the consequences. It's fun, playful, and never gets out of sorts in corners. The RF is not necessarily faster than the regular cloth-top Miata, especially when you consider the 100 pounds of added weight, but at the same time, it's not any less enjoyable. You can't hear the exhaust quite as much, but it's not like it sounds that robust anyway.
I think it's more important to feel the exhaust rather than hear it, and I've driven a few RFs even though I own a soft top, but the RF, it feels a little bit different than the soft top. It feels like a more stable car. You know the difference if you've driven like an NA or NB soft top and then you put a hard top on it, it changes the dynamics or the driving dynamics of the car completely. Same deal here between the soft top and the RF, and that translates over to any kind of noise or vibrations that you feel around the car or on the car.
Anyway, considering end of the straightaway speeds were not that high, braking performance was fine. More importantly, they never faded throughout our 3 days of track time. In straight line runs, it was tricky to find that sweet spot for nailing perfect launches, but if you don't mind slipping the light clutch just a bit and dealing with a little wheel hop, you can hit 60 in 5.8 seconds.
That's surprising because I think the previous low speed, the previous fastest speed for that 0 to 60 for the ND Miata on Motor Week was 5.9, and that was for the 2019 ND2 soft top. And knowing that the RF got 1/10 of a second faster, they may have just had a better driver behind the wheel. But yeah, the ND Miata is a sub 6 second car.
A 6-speed automatic is available, but if you're at all able, manual shifting through the Miata's gears remains one of the best joys in the car world today. Short throws and the precise action of the shifter is something we'll never get tired of experiencing. The quarter-mile journey came to an end in 14.7 seconds at 94 miles per hour.
When we began the Motor Week journey 45 years ago, it didn't take long for a Mazda to pop up on our radar. Testing a 626 coupe in our third show ever, we felt this Oriental BMW had real sports car potential. Though we seemed to appreciate its business-like interior and clear gauges most, both full of Japanese flair. Since the RF arrived in 2017 as part of the 4th Gen Miata lineup, changes have been minimal, but both head and
I think it's weird. I'm conflicted about this color. I personally don't like machine gray, but the way it reflects the sunlight and makes it look blue from certain angles is something to be impressed by.
taillights were updated in 24. So much about the interior remains simplistic and purposeful. Manual seat adjustments, actual knobs and switches, and even a physical handbrake. But modern features have crept in with a multifunction controller for the 8.8-inch infotainment display and wireless smartphone connectivity. Things remain cozy inside. The seats could use more bolstering, and the lack of headroom kept some of our taller drivers sidelined as they're just...
No offense to anybody who's over 6 feet tall, but this isn't the first time I think Motor Week has mentioned that about, you know, that 6 foot maximum height or barrier. But so here's what I'll say about the ND Miata compared to the other generations. The ND Miata has a lot, I mean a lot of legroom. I'm 6 feet tall. I have very long legs. That's where most of my height is, and I fit in the ND Miata just fine, soft top or RF. If most of your height is in your torso, you're kind of out of luck unless you get some kind of seat lowering kit that can lower the seat maybe 1 or 2 inches, and that's your best bet.
Just wasn't enough room with a helmet on. But on a sunny day with an open road in front of you, all of that is forgotten as you store the roof and find the Miata zone. If you know, you know. Government fuel economy ratings with the 6-speed manual are 26 city, 35 highway, and 29 combined.
I am able to get 40 on the highway easily by just, you know, not hot dogging it when I'm on the interstate and even slipstreaming behind other cars, which is very easy. It's very easy to do in a Miata. So it's very easy for me to average over 40 miles a gallon over an entire tank and squeeze a full tank to almost, well, easily 350 miles, almost 400. You can't really do that in any other generation of a Miata.
Fine. With prices of everything skyrocketing of late, it's good to know you can still get an MX-5 Miata for just over $30,000. RFs are a little more of an investment, starting at $39,685.
And the reason the Club is more expensive than the Grand Touring for the RF is that in the United States, if you get the RF in Club trim, they make you get like the whole BBR package. That's the Brembo, Recaros, and the BBS wheels. And that package alone, where it is optional on the soft top Club, adds like almost $5,000 to the car. But all else being equal, if you get a regular Club soft top and a regular Grand Touring soft top, the Grand Touring is going to be about $2,000 to $3,000 more.
While most of us would stick with the cloth top for the true roadster experience, the Miata RF offers buyers a more protective and, yes, premium option. Either way you go, you can't go wrong with the Mazda MX-5 Miata.
The Motor Week.
Okay, let's go on to the next video. Let's see. This is by a channel that I don't even subscribe to. It's called Between Gears. They only have like 198 subscribers, which is more than what I have, but this seems to have gotten almost 10,000 views, so it kind of has gone a little bit viral. But if you read the description, he talks about the Miata has taught him in 500 miles more than his M340i did in 5,000. Here's what trading 382 horsepower for a lightweight roadster taught me about driving. So this is going to be very interesting. He went from a really powerful car with lots of horsepower to something that, you know, doesn't have that much horsepower. and is light and nimble. So that's one of the things Mazda, whenever they engineer a car, they always say engineer it with power to weight in mind. And so let's go ahead with this one.
Why does body roll need to exist? Have you guys ever seen the original Karate Kid? Do you remember when the main character, Daniel, was getting frustrated because he had to do a lot of menial tasks like sweeping the floor and painting the fence, and of course waxing on and off Mr. Miyagi's car? The point of that was obviously not to get good at sweeping the floors or painting the fence. What was it? I think that this car might have the answer to that question. Let's find out. So in Karate Kid, Daniel's son, he just wanted to do karate, right? Like, what did sweeping the floors or painting the fence or waxing on and off have to do with anything? Similarly, why is the Miata so slow? Why does it have so much body roll? Those are really the wrong questions to ask, and they're certainly not something that needs to be fixed. You know, there's a popular saying online that Miata is always the answer, and I don't think that's right. I think the Miata always has the right questions. And no, that's not a good acronym, but I think it's more accurate. I think modern cars are almost like scrolling on TikTok for an hour. High in stimulation, but low in nourishing or actual fulfillment. You've got more screens, you got more power, you got turbocharged power bands, you got quick steering racks. But the Miata asks you to slow down. It teaches you things, just like Mr. Miyagi. What does painting the fence have to do with anything? Well, what does body roll? Why does body roll need to exist? Why don't we just fix it with some better dampers? You know, Mazda doesn't know what they're doing. I don't want to do body roll, I just want to drive fast, right? I just want to do karate. It's kind of the same thing. This feels almost like a different mode of transportation, and it makes you ask yourself, why am I even driving? Am I I mean, even how long is my attention span? Because yes, while the Miata is good at going fast, it is not the primary purpose of the car. The primary purpose of the car is having fun. But please don't forget to like and subscribe if you like this type of content. It helps me know what the people like. You know, do we like Miata content? Do we like the essays? Do you want more traditional car reviews? And to go back to my Karate Kid analogy, all the lessons...
Those are great movies, by the way. You should watch them if you want some peak 80s entertainment.
...that are taught in Karate Kid are within the scope of karate, right? He's not trying to teach him MMA or jiu-jitsu or any other martial art. He's trying to teach him karate and life lessons too. That's kind of what this car is like. You've got two dimensions. You've got the performance dimension, and then honestly you've got the how you get enjoyment out of it dimension too. And if you're not in the right headspace, you may not get enjoyment out of it. Just like if you're in the headspace of I just want to drive fast or I just want to learn karate, yeah, you're not going to enjoy painting the fence. You got to come into this with an open mind. And that's what I think a lot of people get wrong about it. And for me personally, I'm asking myself these questions. Am I able to slow down? You know, am I able to just enjoy the feel of the shifter being directly connected to the transmission? Am I able to enjoy wringing out the gears? Speaking of, let's do a lunch. Haven't done a lunch in the Miata yet.
That was terrible. What the fuck? Also, it looks like he has a club trim based on these dials here for the HVAC controls, but he's got a home link mirror. Find that a little bit odd. Maybe he installed that aftermarket. I don't know. This is yeah, he probably installed it aftermarket because this is an ND2. I can tell by the infotainment screen. So yeah, that explains a few things.
I'm not even at 60 yet. I don't know what that was. That was like 50 or something, but that was so fun. Alright, it can boogie still too. You know, it's not fast, but 181 horsepower, but it can light them up. Oh man, that was the most fun scoot to 50 miles an hour I've ever had. I guess another analogy, I'm just all over the analogies today. Some cars are a roller coaster. You have no control, but it's exhilarating. You know, the BMW or Tesla Model 3 are kind of like that. Man, this AC works good.
Yeah.
Some cars
Wait.
are...
If he's saying it works good, okay, the Miata's AC works good because it's a very small cabin to cool down or heat up. But I don't know what model year this is. After 2021, they started putting that new coolant in, which is the refrigerant in, which is R1234YF, I think, or whatever. And it's only half as good as the R134A, which is through model year 2021, I believe.
Like a run on the beach. You're still
Just a little tidbit.
kind of going fast, but it's different. It's a little slower. It's not as adrenaline pumping. Even though, you know, if you really push the Miata, it can definitely be adrenaline pumping. And what if you lived in one of these houses? You'd just be right by Lime Creek. That'd be amazing. So first impressions, it's a totally different mindset. And so far I'm really enjoying it. So if you're new to the channel, please do not forget to like and subscribe. I will definitely be making more content with this car. And yeah, and I didn't mention, it's a 2021 ND2.
Yeah.
With the engine that revs with 7,500 RPM.
So he's got the good refrigerant still.
The engine actually has more character than I was expecting. I've already ordered an exhaust though. I have already ordered an exhaust. So that will wake it up quite a bit, I'm sure. FRS bro. But please don't forget to like and subscribe. It's free, just one button. Really helps the channel out tremendously. Thank you guys for watching. See you next time.
Okay, awesome. Let's go to the next one.
Behind me is the best version of the Miata. The Tim Daly Mazda here in Murray is providing us with this Miata. I'll include a link to their website in the description down.
I don't believe the Club's the best version, even though a lot of people say it is. I'm more of a GT fan, but hey.
Down below. Let's get right into it. Under the hood is a 2-liter 4-cylinder that goes through a 6-speed manual. Fuel economy is 26 around town, 34 on the highway, with power outputs being 181 horsepower and then 151 pound-feet of torque. If you're looking for more straight to the point reviews like this, make sure you subscribe. Now I think this black paint looks super sharp. It's got a ton of metallic flake in it, and then the headlights for the daytime running lights. Look how aggressive that is, but then it's less aggressive once you go to the grill because it's just a little smiley face. And then I love the painted front splitter too. Overall, it's a very sharp looking car. They really don't need to change the design on the Miata in my opinion. 205/45/17 for the tire and wheel setup. You've got BBS wheels, and let's take a closer look at that whole setup. And then you do have Brembo brakes with this as well. And this particular one is the soft top, which is the one that everyone wants because, well, less weight up top, better handling. Now I'm just gonna show the top down right now. It's really easy to open it up. You just pull this latch, push that back, and then down, and it's done. And with the top down, you've got that cool open air roadster feel and look. I love it. And of course, for safety, you've got the reinforcement behind the seat on either side. And this is a weird angle to film at, but anyways, that's the latch there. And then you just pull this back, put it in, oops, I did it too soon. There we go, put it into place and then latch it. Now,
okay, so something I want to point out, this ceiling here, the inside of the top on the ND Miata is a great place. If you're a fan of like patches, you can stick a whole bunch of patches on this area here that my mouse cursor's at.
Latch it. Now when it comes to key fob features, we have the Mazda logo. Nothing there on that one side, but on the other side we have our lock and unlock feature, and then the opening for
I'm glad I don't have this particular key fob. I think it became standard after 2020 on the Miata. Mine's a 2019, which is the first year of the ND2, and you get the skinny key fob. But I think if I were to get another ND Miata, I would want to have. I wouldn't mind having this key fob because then I wouldn't be grabbing the wrong key fob. If I wanted to drive, say, like a newer RF that I might get versus my 2019 ND soft top.
The trunk too. Now being a Miata, we're not going to have a massive trunk. The cargo area here is actually not that bad, but yeah, there's not a crazy amount of space. They still do this little thing, and then you've got the actual shark fin down below. You notice all the badgings in chrome. I think it'd be cool if they blacked that out in this package, and then I love the taillights. That will cap things off for the exterior of the Miata. Look at that, keyless entry, and let's check out the interior. Blind spot monitor with the mirrors. I always think this is funny with the Miata window, how it kind of curves that way. They bring in the paint to the inside, which is fun. You got this trim here with this package.
That's okay. So the Alcantara on the door on the door cards here, as well as on the bottom half of the dash and on the center console or the transmission tunnel, that's new for 2026 if you get the BBR package on the club.
It's kind of like a Alcantara, and then soft touch below. All of our window controls there, mirror adjustments. Looks like you got speakers there on the headrest. Anyways, Recaro seats, they are manual with the adjustments. You got regular traction off, and you got super fun traction off. Racing flag. Now with the steering wheel, you've got soft touch all around. Practical controls in the front for the cruise. Got your volume controls. This is for the little center info, and then regular stocks there on the back too. Now taking a look at the gauge cluster, you can see the 3-gauge layout. Again, if I press the info button, it'll change what's on that one side. Pretty straightforward, but I like how the RPMs are front and center. This is what a sports car should be like. Backup camera in reverse. Decent resolution. So one downside with the infotainment system, I cannot get the camera to actually pick up the screen because of the glare. Now there is a plastic covering on it that is going to get in the way a little bit. But anyways, it's not a touchscreen. It does have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto though. Got more of like the Alcantara trim. And then down here, we've got our climate controls. So you'll notice we've got single zone climate, but we have physical buttons, well, dials rather. This does still have heated seats, got some USB ports. I like how the shifters always vibrate. Look at that.
Yeah.
That's just what it does from the end.
People always ask about that, if that's normal on the ND Miata. The answer is yes, it's normal for the shifter to vibrate a little bit when it's idling.
So you know you're like...
That's how you know the car's alive, that like the shifter is directly connected to the transmission, no linkages or anything.
Transmission's actually connected to the car, right? Anyways, you got more trim there, like the parking brake, and then this is kind of cool. And you got the movable cup holders. You also have storage there as well. And yeah, these seats are actually really comfortable. The trim on them is nice as well. 2026 MX-5 Club, and again, it's got the BBS package, which is $5,050. Wow. Or is it? Brembo BBS Recaro package is what the thing's actually called. $40,410. Let's see how this Miata performs. Anyways, finally getting up and moving here in the Miata. nice. It's smooth. The engine's smooth, I would say. The transmission's super notchy into the gates. Like, very notchy. See, and the Miata's not a super high horsepower car. So being able to actually... I might need to scoot the seat back a little bit. Being able to actually feel the whole engine, you know, most of the revs. And it's not the easiest on the rev match downshift, I will say. It is a 4-cylinder, naturally aspirated, inline 4-cylinder at that. So, but the transmission's good. Now, something to note, these manual transmissions can have some problems. The reason I bring this up is, actually, you know what? Since I am mentioning this, I get it. I get to use this in this review. In the name of Adam, in the name of Adam, Adam will understand. I have to tell you about the transmission. Yeah, they can have some reliability issues. Adam had some issues with his. He actually traded his in for another car. So that is something to be aware of. I think it's kind of crazy that a manual transmission in general would have anything other than, you know, someone burning out the clutch, but such is life with modern cars, you know what I mean? Man, it's bumpy. Again, it's a small car, very short wheelbase, so it's like you hit the front axle, you hit the back axle just instantly. But you can still daily drive this. Like, I don't mind. It's kind of like, it's free massage seat function, you know what I mean? Most people in these high-end luxury cars have to pay big money to get massage seats. In the Miata, you don't have to pay for them on the window sticker at all. You just have to drive over a bumpy road.
I kind of like that.
And then you get the massage seat function.
I kind of like that comparison there. You're always getting a massage seat function. Yeah, that's kind of funny.
See, like, I gotta go through 2 gears, not all the way, but partially, just to get up to speed there. I actually get to enjoy the car a little bit. That's the thing that I love about the Miata. I still think this is, like, despite the potential issues with the transmission, I do think this is still, like, the best. This and, you know, the Toyota 86 Super BRZ, because the power is actually usable legally. Manual transmission. And they're cheap. Like the Miatas, for the most part, it's just regular maintenance. And so, I mean, tires are cheap too. I don't know why it's trying to pair a device. What the heck? But yeah, tires are cheap because they're teeny weeny. Brakes are not going to be that expensive. Yeah, the Brembos would be a little bit more, but it's not a huge rotor, not a huge caliper. Pads are going to be cheaper. Man, why is this trying to pair to Bluetooth? And I like how you can still feel stuff through the steering of this too. It is very kind of darty though.
I can feel the vibration in the engine sound. Very, very much like how a new Miata feels. Even like NDs that have a higher mileage like mine, it's over 100,000. Like, you can feel that.
Which again is a sports car. It's kind of what you expect. But yeah, this is fun. It's super sharp. It does handle a bit sharper compared to regular Miata, I would say. Definitely handles sharper than the RF. The soft top is a little bit funner, but it is also louder. Right, you got less insulation, so that is a little bit of a downside with this. So let me know you guys think about this, but this is kind of like the Miata to get soft top with the club package, with the BBS wheels. I don't think it really gets any better than this.
Yeah, let's not deal with this promotion or advertising. I'm not gonna watch this whole video by the Topher, but maybe just the first 5 or 10 minutes where he actually talks about the story of him getting his Indy Miata. He finally bought an Indy Miata. This looks to be an ND1, and I can tell based on the infotainment screen, it's got that kind of silver or chrome frame around it instead of the gloss black that they started putting in 2019 in the ND2s. So, and it looks like a club variant because of the black plastic around the HVAC controls instead of the chrome or the silver. So let's see what he has to say.
All right, let's talk about it. I'm here with my new 2017 ND1 Miata RF Club. Let's talk about why I bought this car, what it is. We'll start it up, we'll walk you guys around it, and then we'll take it for a drive and give you guys some first driving impressions on the new car. Super excited to have this in the garage. As many of you know, I've been on the search for a little while after selling a few of my other cars, and this thing popped up. I could not say no, and I'm really, really glad to finally be back in a Miata again. I made a post a few days ago that said the one car I regret selling was my 94 Miata. It was built to be kind of an R package with manual steering, lighter weight interior, some bits taken out like the radio, like the soft top. It had a little bit more power, and it had good suspension, a good track alignment, and good sticky tires. And it was just one of the most fun cars I've ever owned. And this ND1 mimics that in so many ways, and in many other ways it's so much better because of the quality of the build that the previous owner did on this car. This is definitely a case of bought, not built. I'm okay with that. It gives me more time to drive and enjoy the car and use it for its intended purpose instead of researching parts online, reading forums, working on the car, being under it. You know me, I just like to drive. I do enjoy working on cars some too, but in this case, this saves me some time and money. Let's start it up. All right, so like I've mentioned, this has all the right bits. It's got the exhaust, the suspension, the aero. We're gonna talk about that at length here in this video. First things first though, RF versus ragtop. I'm still torn on this. The ragtop, you can fit a roll bar underneath. The RF, not so much. I do like the look of the RF. That's why I have the roof up right now, even though that pretty much stays down 95% of the time when I'm driving this car. But it's just so sexy, so sharp, so good looking. And it does offer a little bit more comfort on those highway trips to and from the track and just in daily driving scenarios. So no, I'm still torn on the RF versus the ragtop. Personally, my top choice probably would have been a ragtop because that's what I'm gonna be using this car for, is just taking the roof off, taking it to the track. Probably would have thrown a roll bar in, but here we are. This is what we have, and we're gonna work with it because this car, on first impressions, has been fantastic. Let's talk about the modifications here. So one of my favorite...
I'm gonna guess that color is ceramic metallic. At first I wanted to say like snowflake white, but I think that's a GT trim color. I think that maybe ceramic metallic.
Favorite mods on the ND Miata is the Roadster Sport Race exhaust from
That's a great exhaust. That is a great exhaust to have.
It weighs 12 pounds. It sounds fantastic, and it's just super functional. Paired with that on this Miata, I think is something that a lot of owners aspire and want to do to their cars. Some of them do, some of them don't. The hardcore track rats probably do it more often than not. Is this Versus Engineering rear aero kit. So tons of underbody aero paneling here to basically reduce lift, not make the rear bumper into a parachute with that different exhaust profile. Again, I haven't felt the before and after difference here, but supposedly the previous owner told me that he does notice the difference at higher speeds on the track with this Versus aero kit. So we got a little bit of aerodynamics here. We've got the right exhaust. This is not the BBS Brembo package car, but it has been converted to the Brembo brakes from a BBS Brembo package car, as well as the Versus Racing brake ducting kit. So if I turn this wheel, you guys can see that ducting hose right back there. Look at that. That's proper race car stuff, as well as a car sept.
Ooh, are those Öhlins? Those are expensive coilovers. They're really good though.
Sway bar, so one of 5 different adjustment levels. All the right bits. And I haven't even talked about the Öhlins dampers, the Öhlins DFV coilovers. 8K spring rates in the front, 4K spring rates in the rear, Swift springs, and one of the best setup coilovers on any sports car I've ever felt. The ride quality in the street is sublime. When I test drove this car, all I said to the owner is I've driven a bunch of ND Miatas. I'm not here for a thrill ride. Take me to the bumpiest road you know in Royal Oak. He did, and I was sold. I was like,
I wonder what wheels those are. Those look like Inkeys, but they're not RPF ones, obviously, but they're also not... I don't think those are PFO ones, which, by the way, are my favorite Inkey wheels. Those are 5 pairs of spokes instead of 6. So I'll have to do some research.
all right, well, we're buying the car. We're doing it. So this came with a lot of spare parts, a lot of sets of wheels. Came with 4 sets of wheels. I already sold 1 set of wheels because
oh, wow.
the Brembo brakes don't fit over the stock wheels. And we've got a couple sets of track Koenig heliograms. And
oh, okay. Wait, those aren't those, I don't think. That's one of the other sets he's got.
a couple sets of extreme contact force tires. We're going to be replacing 1 set with the new Bridgestone Potenza RE71 RZs, so we'll test those out on the track, and maybe we'll find something else too. But it would be nice to kind of get some tire comparisons done on this car. For the street, we have these NK PFO1 wheels in 17x7 and 205/45 R17. Stock sizing here with these Continental Extreme Contact DWS 06 Plus tires. Really nice all season. They allow just a little bit of slip while still providing a ton of grip. The only modifications that I've made to this car are a set of new center caps. They look great. Thank you 3dcarstickers.com. Shout out to them. Been using them for ages to do custom center caps. Not sponsored or anything, just I appreciate the work that they do. And then I just got this little piece here on eBay that fits into all NK wheels, and I think these wheels look choice. Bringing back silver wheels on a silver car. This color isn't technically silver, and it wasn't necessarily my first choice for a Miata. I was pretty set on finding a red or black Miata, but it's really starting to grow on me. This is called ceramic metallic, and it's not quite gray. It's not quite
I guessed it
white.
right.
It's not quite silver. It's kind of everything in between. My neighbor had a Boxster Spider a few years ago, and this actually reminds me a lot of the color on that car. It's really nice, and on these wheels and on the set of bronze heliograms, it looks fantastic. Coming around to the front, you can see we have a super aggressive track alignment here. Supposedly tire wear works out pretty well, so we'll see how it goes. About 3 degrees of negative camber, and I don't know exact caster. I think it's around 6. It's not super aggressive because we're not super close to this front fender here, but it should be about right for the geometry with the suspension and everything. We'll see how it handles on track. This car also has the Super Miata competition hubs with extended lug nuts and open-ended lug nuts to fit over those. The engine is basically stock, so it's the 2-liter from Mazda and the ND1. However, it has a 91 octane Fab 9 tune. So redline is raised to 7,500 RPM, and power here basically feels the same as an ND2 car. I can't really tell the difference. We're gonna drive an ND2 or an ND3 and this back to back to really suss it out and feel the difference. And I'm also gonna be comparing this car to my mom's bone stock 2017 Miata RF BBS Brembo package, which will give us a baseline for all the differences and changes with these modifications. There's a bunch of other little modifications like aftermarket side markers, which give us a little bit better visibility in low light driving. I've always kind of made fun of these side markers because my buddy who has them on his Z06, it actually interferes with the TPMS module in the car and kind of messes up with his traction control in his 2019 Z06. But this Miata doesn't have TPMS sensors. It just has wheel speed sensors, so that's not an issue here. This car has tow hooks, trunk liner, very little space in the back of this, which is fine. However, yesterday I did fit all of my photography gear in the passenger seat, just barely. So I can drive this car to photo shoots if I want to, which makes me very, very happy. Oh, only other thing I forgot to mention are brake pads. So for the street, we're running a set of G-Lock GS1s, a very rotor-friendly, very dust-free street pad, but not necessarily something you want to use on track. Autocross might be okay. For the track, we have a set of G-Lock G14s. So these pads are very both rotor-friendly, compatible compounds where you can swap back and forth. Very nice. We've got a bunch of extra sets of those from the previous owner. thank you to him for buying all those. Apparently, this car was absolutely devouring brake pads before the brake ducting kit, and now it's a lot easier on the wallet, which is good. All right, so we've seen the outside. Let's hop inside. There aren't a ton of changes there, but there are some areas where I'd like to make some changes. One of the most appreciated upgrades here is the OEM CarPlay unit from a newer ND2 Miata. So I have that paired with just a wireless adapter from Amazon. It was 30 or 40 bucks. CarPlay in this car is a little bit iffy. It connects most of the time, and some of the time it just doesn't and needs to be unplugged and plugged back in again. Not a big deal, but it's just one of those things where it's not a seamless integration.
Mazda's infotainment system on the ND1 and the ND2 is kind of hiccupy and relatively slow, so I would suggest trying to get a mod on that if you can, and there are mods, but you're going to have to, from what I understand, basically sit with the car and make sure the electronics are fully compatible and reset so you don't brick your car.
But at least I have it and it works. We have the Bose sound system, so speakers in the headrests, and overall a pretty decent sound system for a Miata. Steering wheel. I think this is the first change I'm going to make to this car. It's just little aesthetic stuff that I want to do, basically. I would like to get a Guardian Designs, maybe either a 330mm steering wheel or a 355mm steering wheel. I've always thought the ND Miata steering wheel is just a little bit too large. So I'm going to kind of figure out some calculations, make some measurements. I don't want to reduce my thumb grip space too much here. So I'll do a little bit more research and see what I can find, but if I can go out and get an Alcantara suede, smaller round steering wheel on this Miata, I think that would just be perfect. Maybe a little bit of a line strip on the top to show you your center line. I don't really want to do flat bottom because I still want to slide this car around a little bit and have that driftability. But yeah, I think that'll be the first modification on this ND Miata. Everything else in here is pretty much bone stock. There's whatever this is, a nice little iPhone mount, and it is magnetic, so your phone just goes right up there, and it seems pretty solid. I don't know if that'll hold up on track with all the G-forces this car pulls, but we will find out. If not, I can just throw it down there next to my garage remote. Very little storage, very little space to put things in this Miata. There's no glove box, and there isn't even a cabin air filter. That's another modification that I would like to do to this car. There's a little space down here for a phone, and then of course here's your button to lower the roof. Let's do that because that's how this car is best enjoyed.
You can tell he's excited about this car.
All right, let's get you guys some first driving impressions on the Miata.
We'll do about 3 or 4 minutes of driving, and then we'll go to the last vid that I have for the evening. I love that exhaust.
So again, we're gonna have to do a comparison between this and my mom's bone stock ND1. Same year, same spec. Steering, though, feels a little bit better here with all the modifications. It feels tighter, a little bit more communicative. First thing I do whenever I get in this car is turn off traction control. And Mazda's so cool. They let you run cruise control with traction off. Nobody does that. Mazda gets it though. Just listen to that exhaust.
I need to be able to do like POV videos like this, but I can't find a GoPro setup that actually works for me. But I think this person's 5'11" and I'm only 6 feet, so I should be able to do it and get this kind of view in a Miata. So I think I'm just gonna have to play with some adjustments and some settings on a GoPro to do like POV driving videos.
The grip from this car, even on a setup all seasons, is absolutely insane. The cornering speeds here are just unbelievable. The harder you drive this, the harder in corners. There's red line, 7,500 RPM.
I wouldn't be driving this fast with the top down though if I was doing like any kind of live or pre-recorded POV. If I want to do something like eventually what like Azumalim on YouTube does, where my avatar is basically live, you know, doing this, or pre-recorded, doing like things in the real world.
It's been a journey shopping for cars this year. This isn't necessarily the car I wanted, but I think it's the car I needed. It is just so fun, so good, so usable. I've been driving this thing every day, enjoying every second of it. I've been averaging about 28 to 30 miles to the gallon in this. I haven't been hypermiling, and it just sips fuel. So great. Again, with the tune, it takes 93 octane.
All right, I think that's enough of that. We'll go on to the last video, which is one of Zygreen's latest videos. He's reviewing an ND1 of 2016, the first model year, and this one's supercharged. So let's see what he has to say. This is a track review, apparently.
What's up, guys? We're here at Thunderhill West Raceway. This is a private event hosted by Sake Bomb Garage. They develop suspension, brakes, and other aftermarket parts for a variety of different platforms, mostly focusing on Mazdas, but they developed the Öhlins DFV suspension and the AP Racing brakes on my 91 NSX. We're currently sitting in their shop ND1 track car. This is supercharged, making a little over 200 horsepower at the wheels. It's got the
So the local Miata shop where I live has a track ready supercharged ND1 as well. The ND1's very popular to mod at the moment because they're so cheap, relatively speaking. And if you want an ND and instead of an NC to track, you pretty much go ND1 and then you boost it.
their long stroke Öhlins kit, their brakes, and their wheels as well. And we're just gonna do a few laps here at Thunder Hill. There is no track staff today, so no corner workers. Basically, if something happens, we gotta call it in to the main folks on the east side. So we're not gonna be pushing too hard, just getting a feel for a supercharged ND1. The ND1 was never my favorite generation of Miata just because the engine, straight out of a Mazda 3, it's a little 155 horsepower, 2-liter 4-cylinder that doesn't quite rev to 7,000. The ND2 largely fixed that with its higher redline and extra 25 horsepower. But what happens when you add a supercharger? Does it completely transform this car?
I don't know. It's been a while since I drove an ND1. this is gonna be fun. Oh shit. I love the sound of this car.
right, supercharged ND1 Miata, so much fun. I really think supercharging this little engine transforms the car, because finally it feels like it has the power it always should have had from the factory. Just over 200 at the wheels in a 2,300 pound car. I still wish the red line was another 500 RPM higher, but the power band in this engine is pretty flexible. 4,000 to 6,800, it's all very usable, good torque. I do think the throttle response is a little bit weird. It's very sensitive, so when I go to heel toe, it's very easy to over blip. I never had that problem with the stock ND2 and ND3, and I'm not sure how the stock ND1 felt in terms of throttle response, because I haven't tracked one of those. Yeah, see, it's just so easy to over blip. But overall, very enjoyable car to drive. The socket bomb Öhlins give this car a lot of compliance over the bumps, even over the Dorito here at Thunderhill West. It just feels like a really good balance between street and track. The body control is far better compared to a completely stock ND Miata, that's for sure. I was getting a little bit of brake fade, wasn't pushing the car all that hard, given there's no track staff, but still, just a ton of fun. Big shout out to Socket Bomb. Use the promo code in the video description for a discount.
All right, I think that's going to do it for tonight. You've seen 5 videos, 5 different reviews of the ND, all of them relatively new. I don't plan on doing these types of streams that much anymore because, I mean, I did a lot of React videos just to start out, just to build up my skill set for streaming and for just making videos and then editing them either through OBS and or DaVinci Resolve. But more content's going to be coming soon. I may stream this weekend, but I'll probably definitely stream Monday or Tuesday of next week. And I'm either going to do some form of gaming or I might do another gun cleaning stream. So we'll see, because I actually enjoy those quite a bit more than just doing React videos. So, but I wanted you all to see these videos. Go check them out. Go check out these creators. And like, comment, subscribe, and we will, let's see, let me check something real quick. We will see you next time.